Good day, everyone. I'm Emmanuel from Partner Academy. I'm here to take you guys on the journey on web development for beginners. So, our topic for today on our video will be a beginner's guide to web development. Then we'll go. So, if you are curious about how websites are made and what goes on behind the scene, you are in the right place. In this post or in this video, we explore the basis of web development, break down the key components, and explain why it's just an exciting field to dive into. So I'll be happy before we continue if you just like to give us a thumb up, subscribe, and a comment on the comment below. Thank you. So let's get started. What is web development? Web development is hereby a process of creating website and web application that we use every day, whether it's a simple blog, a social media platform, or an online store. Web developers are the digital builders who make it all possible. They use coding languages, coupled up with some frameworks and various tools to bring their ideas to life on the internet. So let's move to the parts of web dev. There are basically two main parts of web dev, which can be defined as the front end and the back end, but we will dive through all of them. But I wanted to make an exception that there's also one known as the back end, the full stack development, where an individual who have learned and mastered the front end goes ahead and learn and master the back end. Then that kind of individual can say that he is a full stack developer, because he knows both the front end and the back end, and now he can create a full functioning website with a server. Design a website, he can actually design a website, implement his design to life using the front end code basis, then create a back end server for that website to function with. So he automatically become a full stack web developer. So let's start from the number one we have here, which is the front-end web developer. So what is front-end web developer? Front-end is everything you see and interact with on a website. That includes the layout, the design, text, images, button, and any other visual element. Any other visual element attached to a website, that is the front-end. That is the job of the front-end. They are to do all the design, the layout, the text, images, button. For a front-end web developer, they use three main languages to create their website, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like for example here, you can see this code I have displayed here in HTML. These are HTML codes. Let me format it that you already formatted. So these are HTML codes. Going to open let's go for JavaScript codes now. See, these are JavaScript code, or these ones are JavaScript code. Then for CSS, these are CSS code layout. Style of CSS. Oh, I'm not yet formatted this one. Let's go to the main. So okay, already formatted. So now this CSS code layout. So let's start with the HTML. If you visit the HTML, what is the HTML? HTML, also known as hypertext markup language. This is a coding language where the structure of the website is built. What is HTML? Just like it's a language that builds the structure of a website. This is the structure. Let me just put it that HTML is the structure of a website. So whatever you want to do about a website, building of a website, adding structures, setting up the skeletal structure, anything that defines that website, from the heading to the body to the paragraph to the links and to the images and to the footer. All of this is done using the HTML. Without the HTML, though there are other languages that have been brought up these newer seasons of web development, but all those languages still depends on HTML coding to function. Just that they just so the main structure of web development for the basis HTML hypertext markup language is the structure of a web page. To just like the skeleton of a web page, it holds everything together, from your header, your nav bar, your menu button, your elements, your paragraphs, links, images are all held together using the HTML. But you can't just use only the HTML to program a web page, because it won't look beautiful. It will just look like you just writing with a black ink on a whiteboard. No styling attached to it, nothing. That's where our CSS comes in. So what is the function of CSS? CSS, also known as cascading style sheets. Is used to style our HTML elements. So like for example, now you are seeing all these .whitebg, .graybg, .graybg. All these code are just like classes of your HTML page. Like this now you see with an ID of preloader active with class preloader, deflex, align item center, justify content center. These are the classes that your CSS file will use to recognize that element on your HTML file and add your various styling to it. Now with those classes specified here, I can now start typing out the whole classes and the style I want for that classes. Like this one, I need for white BG, I need background of white. For gray BG, I need background of gray. For white BG, for this kind of white. For black BG, then you start going down, you start seeing the rest classes and the styling attached to them. So this boils down to CSS is just used to style the HTML elements, nothing else. To add beauty to it, to style your HTML element, to give it the proper styling you need, the animation, the colors, to adjust the color, the font, the spacing, and the layout of that website, which is your HTML. That is where your CSS comes in, which I can show you. Okay, yes, let me run this on my localhost server so that you can see. Okay, now this is the website on display. Now all this styling, you see the icon, the menu button, all these are done with CSS. Without CSS, let me take out all the CSS from this code, let you see it. Without CSS, all this will look like this. Without CSS, all those codes will look like this. I don't know if you can see. Let me adjust the screen. Now this is what you see without CSS coding. This is what the website will look like. So with CSS is used to style the website, add the fonts and everything, the colors and everything to your website. So adding that CSS back, see the thing, this loading page, and your animation start taking place, everything start taking in, the colors, the fonts, the arrangement, the layout, styling, everything start moving in. So that is the function of the CSS. CSS is to style your web page, make sure your web page look good, beautify it, modernize it, and give it the life that you want it to, the presentation you want it to present to the users. So let's now move to the next language. So we are done with HTML, we are done with CSS. Let's move down to JavaScript. So JavaScript, on the second hand, JavaScript is used to give, how will I put it, to give interaction to a website. HTML is the structure of a website, CSS is the styling of a website. Why? JavaScript to give interactiveness to a website. For every interaction your website gives, it depends on JavaScript assigned to it. So for example, you can see over on this website now, if I refresh and a loading screen plays before the full website loads up, a loading screen plays before the full website loads up. This this can only be done using JavaScript, not CSS. CSS can use to be styling, but to give this instruction to your website is done using JavaScript, where you can add dynamic timing functions and the rest. Add functions, if functions, unload functions, unclick functions. Here you can set it, okay, if your page load, show this element for some certain seconds of time, from some certain duration, before now turning the element off and translating to the next element. Like for example, now you can see it here. This is the function controlling the preloader. You can see it. Windows load, unload function, preloader set active, delay for 450 milliseconds, fade out slow, then display body, delay for 450 seconds for the CSS, overflow visible. So you are seeing it. So if you see where I numbered, it's numbered 1, 2 downward. So if the website, for your browser display any website, it does not just display the website immediately, it downloads the website information and reads the components attached to the HTML. So immediately your browser gets your HTML page, the HTML code of each website. It scans through the HTML code to get each framework and external files attached to that HTML code using the CDN links and redirect links attached to it. Like for this one now, you are seeing the links, the spreadsheets. These are the links attached to it for the CSS styling. So immediately the browser should pick this HTML file now. It scans for all these links, CSS link, it scans it and try to draw out all these CSS file. Try to draw them out from the folder they are in. Then automatically scrolls to the bottom of your page to check for the JavaScript file attached to them. As you can see, this is the JavaScript file attached. Then it starts to draw data and information from this JavaScript file before then implementing those information from the CSS and JavaScript file before them showing you the full page. That's why you see your website now pop on after some time of loading. Yes, so this is what the browser does. So this is way to take hold of that is why the browser does it fast, but there are times when your network will not be strong enough for the thing to load faster. Then we take use of this preloader, this loading screen. Here you create a customized loading screen and make it the first thing to load. So on load, the browser will read this function and be like, okay, on load, this preloader set to 450, fade out slow, then show body after delay of 450, overflow visible. But you should know that if I don't have a strong internet connection, this thing will not happen because of this function here, load, unload. So what this JavaScript does there, so this code is just to like put our loading screen. Then what are the other functions of JavaScript? You have your animations. This one is your sticky and scroll up animation. Your scroll up. You have your menu, mobile menu, which is the button. This button now. I can't just do it with my CSS and HTML. I need my JavaScript. Now this is using onClick function. So set the button with JavaScript and set it on onClick. When I click it, a drop down menu appears. Then I select what I want. It redirects me to the page. I click it again. It closes. I click it. I click outside. Okay, I've not yet set that on. Outside the body click, closes. Then I click it. It closes. That is the function. One of the functions of JavaScript to bring interaction to your website. Even this is all done by JavaScript. Timed scroll. After some seconds, scroll automatically. All done using JavaScript. All of those and interaction you do with your website, everything, your loading screen and everything is done using just JavaScript. So let's go to the next topic, which will be backend. Or we should just like deal on the framework framework associated to front-end development. Like for example, now I'm doing this lesson using the static HTML, CSS, JavaScript web code. So if there are other frameworks I can use either for front-end development, like React.js, where JavaScript and HTML I'll be compiling to one. I'll make sure I touch on that by the end of our focus on web development. I'll start the journey on React. I hope you guys will be active and subscribe, then you'll be able to follow up. Then we have AngularJS, then we have Vue.js. These are other just JavaScript framework created to make front-end web development easier for me and you to use. But you can't just dive into them that way without learning the front basis of front-end development, which the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So all these React, Angular, and Vue.js are just like popular JavaScript framework and library that help developers build complex and efficient front-end application. They provide pre-built components and structures to streamline the development processes. And these are just like JavaScript frameworks. There are other frameworks like the CSS framework of Tailwind CSS and Bootstrap, where they offer the same thing but for CSS styling. Where if you want some certain style on CSS and you don't know how to implement the style, you can just go to Bootstrap and search for the style they have available. If you like any of the style, you can just import it into your coding, implement it to your HTML, and that style take place in your HTML code immediately. So that is how all these frameworks work. So then you go to the next topic where we are going to deal in, like the back end. Like now I've not yet done the back end now. So I'll touch on that sooner. I'll make sure by the time we touch the video on the back end, I will have a back end server up and ready for display. So what is back end? Back end is all about what is behind your website. So the back end is all the behind the scene technology that powers the front end. It's responsible for managing the server, the database, and the application logic of any website. Backend developers work with various languages and tools to ensure that the website functions correctly and efficiently. So what is just simple term backend? Backend is the behind the scene of a website. Like I just show you the visual aspect of a website. Anything I can interact with on a website, being the front end, from the styling, the font, the images, the on-click function, the unload functions, and everything. Anything that do with the visualization and animation of that front end is that's what front end is. Why when you come to the back end do like behind the scene process, the things the website do background that you the user can't see, but the developer made an impression using front end visualization to show it to you. For example, you trying to log in to a website, log in your account on a website. It takes a lot of data processing in the back end, from the website collecting that data you just typed in, and when you click on submit, it collects the data and send it to the server for cross-checking. The server cross-check the data if it's available in the database. If it's not available, it hits the website with an error message, user not found, or an error code, which the website, if the developer have already setting an error for each error code. So when a certain error code falls in, you see a pop-up message showing you either user not found or internet connection error. Or so that's what backend is. Backend is just like the things that happen in the background of the website. So there are some things that make all this background of the website functions, just like the various languages used by the developer, and the tools that's used to ensure the website functions correctly and efficiently. And one of them is the server. The server is just basically where your website is hosted. After building your website, coding it, testing and everything, and okay for production, you don't just leave it to your system, you push it to a server. There are a lot of plenty server out there. So when you are done, you push it to a server. That server is where you get your domain link, get to pay for your get your domain link, and you start sharing with your users to access your website from that server. So that link will now be the redirect link to the server to access your own website in that server. So the server is just like where your website is hosted. Server respond to requests from users browser and send back the necessary information. Some common server include Apache and NG server. While if you go to the next tool, which is database. Database is something like for those who own websites like blogging site, movie streaming site, and all those websites that require the transmission of files and heavy data usually have database for storing all those data, like Facebook for example, where you post your pictures and your text and everything. All those things are stored in a database, not in a server. Server is just like you host. Database is like your online cloud storage for your website, where anything that your website does that is huge, like you send in a huge file to your website will take it and store it in your database. So database in simple terms is just like it's like a tool used to store and manage data for your website. So this could be user information, blog post, product listing, any of it, etc. Whilst yes, some popular databases include MySQL, PostgreSQL, and MongoDB. So let's move to the next one, which is a language. There are many programming language attached to backend, but we're going to just link to the common few. Some common backend languages include Python, Ruby, PHP, and JavaScript. Yes, JavaScript for the front end is very large that it can now be used for the back end too. But you cannot just use JavaScript for the back end. You need some of the JavaScript backend framework, such as Node.js, Node.js. That framework of JavaScript can be used for your backend. So, what are all these programming languages? They are the language that help developer create the logic that allow the website to function as intended. Yes, these languages help developers create the logics that allow the website to function as intended. For the fact that I can open my website, let me go on face. No, for the fact that I can open my website, okay, I'm coming. Seems that my internet connection tripped off. Okay, now that we are back online, let me use this website as an example for the explanation I'm making. So database. Now you have this website, this anime site with all these videos on display on the website. So this website now cannot function properly without the help of a database. So if this website now they coded it with the front end and pushed it to a server, now I can access this website using the link. Then for all this listing to be here, they need a database, and where database they will be uploading these videos to. So now what they will do, or purchase a database. You can get a database online, purchase it, confirm your registration, get your token session key and everything. Then using your backend languages, connect your browser, your website to your database, and start sharing data between the two. So like now you see I will refresh to the home page. The data assigned to the home page will immediately display. You see it is taking time drawing data from the database. Then if I like, okay, I want this one, and I click on it, it automatically fishes out that video from the database and puts it on display in front of me. So that is the function of the database. Database is used to store information, user information, blog posts, product listing, videos, music for Spotify. Spotify have their own database where they store their songs. So anytime you click on any certain songs, all the logic created by the backend code programming language to does that. Okay, you clicked on this. This is the exact music you want. That's the exact music we brought to you. So our next stop will be on the languages. So we have already spoken about the language, and now we should deal on the framework assigned to backend. So some framework and libraries in backend involve Express.js, which is also an extension from Node.js, the Django, which is an extension from Python, Ruby on Rails, which is an extension on Ruby. So these frameworks provide robust tools for building scalable and maintainable backend systems. They simplify the development process by offering pre-configured structures and utilities. So that is just the function of most frameworks. They help simplify the development process of web development by just like some basic tasks that don't need to be changed every time. That is just like they're almost the same on every use. So these frameworks come together, make those basic tasks and combine them function and just pre-configure them for each use. So instead for you to just coding, bringing out those basic tasks in tens or thousands of lines of code, these frameworks just compile everything to 1 to 5 lines of code for you to just implement. So it just help simplify the development process. So we will be going on the why is web development important. Why is web dev important? Web dev is important on plenty different crucial ways. Like for example, web dev is crucial because it brings the digital world to life. We will not be where we are viewing the internet, watching videos on TikTok and audio without having web development in place back in the days. So you see how crucial web development is to the today world. Without web dev, we will not be able to display anything on the internet. The internet will just be like a blank white page full of text, no image, no styling, no animation, nothing. So that's where web development comes in. The study of web development have made it crucial, have made it easier to bring digital world to life. Every web and application we use is a product of web development, which is true. It enables businesses to reach customers like e-commerce sites and other marketing strategy sites and apps out there. You register and help you configure your businesses, your digital businesses, and reach out to your potential customers. For example, you have GG for Nigeria, have a Facebook marketplace for social media marketing, you have your Google ads for marketing your services, your product and services online, or everything you see. So it enables business to reach out to customers, allowing people to connect with each other. For example, TikTok, for example, allow people to share and connect with each other. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of the social media you know about, they are also a product of web development. So we move to the next point, and it provides a platform for sharing information and entertainment, which we already know what that stands for the Facebook videos, Facebook Reel, YouTube Shorts, Netflix, Spotify, name any entertainment site you know about, or apps. All are product of web development, and they would have not come into place if not for web development. Then we talk about, as technology continues to advance, demand for skilled web developers grows, making it a valuable and rewarding career path, which is true. Because web development, if you try to compare web development of today, web development of 10 years ago, they are not the same. You see, as the years goes by, the web development become more advanced and more beautiful, and more things have been added to it to make it very good than the previous generation of web development. So you see, so you'll be a very good career path to take as a web developer, me to see. So moving to the next topic on the different type of web development. Yes, which I've already touched on the two main parts. Now we are going to talk on the remaining parts of web development. Like for the I'm going to start with the full stack. For example, the full stacks, this is where developers have the skill to work on both the front end and the back end of a website. As I stated earlier, they understand how to create a complex web application from start to finish. From start to finish. As a full stack web developer, you must understand on how to create a complete web application. You don't need to say you can only do styling or you can only do the server end. No, you'll be able to do the two combined. So you can be given the title of a full stack web developer. You can do both the front end, the styling and everything. Then when you are done with the styling, then start doing the server end, connecting your server, database, linking everything together. That is what a full stack developer implies. So as a front end, you already know front end, build the structure of the website, style it and add interaction to it. Back end, deal with the server side of the website. That handle the database interaction, user authentication. Yes, the back end it's also involved in keeping the security of the website to ensure that each user that going to that website is registered. The user authentication, the server logic, and the data processing of data being sent from the database to the server to the website are all configured and designed by the back-end developer. Then we go on DevOps. The function of DevOps is also a part of web development that combines the development and operations. So they combine both development and operations. So DevOps, DevOps engineer works on the continuous integration and deployment, ensuring that the deployment process is smooth and efficient. So to put in simpler terms, DevOps are just like the middlemen between the production line and the development line. So their function is to okay, you are the developer. You are developing. As you are developing, the DevOps is compiling your development with the production line for deployment, for easy integration and process smooth and efficient. So yes, while mobile web development focuses on creating web app applications that optimize for mobile devices only. If I should stand up and say I'm a mobile web developer, that means I only build websites for mobile devices only. Your phones, your tablets, finish. No other things attached to it. Just a mobile web developer. So we move to the tools and technology used in web development. Like now, I've already stated before, there are different tools and technology used in web development. So if you are trying to start so here are the few things you need. For number one, you will need a code IDE, which is code editor. What are the functions of this editor? To create an environment for you to code in. Like this environment I'm coding in is also known as I'm using VS Code editor. So this is VS Code. There are different types. There's Visual Studio Code, which is the same thing with VS Code. There's Sublime Text. There's Atom. These are the most popular ones. There are others, but I'm just going to stick with the popular ones now for developers, for writing and editing of code. Then there is version control. Version control in the sense of Git. For example, let me load up my Git page. For you to see. So version control. Git is used for version control. Okay, now I'm on my GitHub page. Let's check on. Let me say I want to check on my portfolio repository. You see, it will load up and start showing me things I've done. Let it load up, finish. Let it finish loading up. So it's supposed to display the when I uploaded and everything. Okay, I uploaded 8 months ago. So what the version control use associated with Git, then I uploaded 8 months ago. I can come here, click on history. Maybe I did a mistake in my recent upload that wasn't good, that I want to revert back. I can just click on it on history and go back to when I uploaded and revert my upload. Then I can start scanning through which of the files I updated. Like now, I didn't make some plenty update on my portfolio, so you can see made some changes and updated the readme file.md file, edited the readme file, my portfolio when I pushed it and everything. So if I edited some of the files that made the website stop running properly, I can just come here immediately and revert it back to that version. Like, okay, this is, I just uploaded this and this is the older version. I'll just revert it to the older version and try to fix the older version for the new update of the website. So that is what this is. So for then the next one will be package managers. There are package managers for web development. Tools like npm and yarn help manage libraries and dependency for projects. So as a web developers, you will be managing your tools in form of libraries and projects, yes. So you'll be importing a lot of libraries for your work, like those using framework, for example, like those using framework like React.js for front end engine or front end developers. You don't just open VS Code and start coding. You will need a package manager like npm, install node using the npm, the node, install git. Git is also a library and a dependency, because yes, Git as a website that stores code also owns Git bash, which is a dependency on which you can run Git. Like me coming to this website to upload and everything, with Git bash I don't need to be coming to this website to upload every time. I can just run from my command prompt, my terminal, log in, provide my details for my terminal, and get connect and stay connected to my account, download any of the repository I want to download, push my new code to any of the repository I want to push to, and do any other thing from that Git bash. So before I can use that Git bash and the rest, I need package managers. So npm and yarn is one of them. So I would, as a web dev, before you run your React, you download your node package manager, which is npm, download your global version of React to your computer, then using the package manager for React, which is npx, to run your React code. That's easy as that. So we'll go to the next topic, which is the build tool. So some build tools are Webpack, Gop, and Grunt automate tasks. So these things are like, they help you do your automated tasks as a web developer. Like those using VS Code already don't need to be thinking of build tools, except if you are looking for a way to compile your work into one basic folder, which VS Code already does for that. So your VS Code already come with your Webpack, where you code your CSS, your HTML, and everything does run automatically. It's compiled automatically by your VS Code, then sent to your browser through your local host. Like now, my VS Code is sending through this server 5500, localhost 5500. So everything is being compiled automatically by VS Code, except when I want to connect to my database or any other thing, and then I can go and compile everything with those webpack, cop, or grunt. They can also do automated tasks like minification, compilation, and testing. Yes, you can use them for minification, compilation, and testing. So the next point there will be content management system, CMS. Many of you already used to systems like this, just like the WordPress, the Joomla, and the Drupal. Those are the popular CMS we all know. They allow users to create and manage content without needing extensive coding languages or knowledge. Please, um, services like WordPress, you don't need to be a good web developer to know how to code using WordPress. Just go there, you see templates of websites, pick the one you like, edit it to your choice, then push it to their server. If you need a custom link, you pay, get your custom link. If you don't need a custom link, you have a cheaper version where you pay and they give you the link of their choice carrying their own name. So these are just like the content management system for web development. Then we go to how to get started with web development. Getting started with web development is easier than you may think. Here are let me just say, there are very few steps that will help you begin your journey. Number one is learn the basics. Learn the basics. I know here coding in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript now looks old, but you cannot just jump into React.js or Vue.js or AngularJS and name that, yes, they are the reigning programming language now. You need to learn the basics. The HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You don't need to master JavaScript. Nobody can master JavaScript. Even me here, I cannot come out profoundly and say yes, I've mastered JavaScript, because JavaScript is a language that evolves every month. Because the more I'm saying every year, it seems that lots of framework are coming out every time and they are getting updated every time, every day. So JavaScript is not a code I can say you can boldly stand up and say yes, I mastered JavaScript. No, because all this programming language evolve. So I would say start from the number one first. Learn the basics. Start with HTML. When you are done with HTML, go into CSS and go into how to link your CSS to your HTML, how they both function together for your styling to come to reality. Then you go for your JavaScript, how to embed your JavaScript to both your CSS and your HTML files. Then learn how to assign function to each element of your HTML file. Then learn how to use JavaScript to manipulate your CSS styling. Yes, you can use JavaScript to manipulate your CSS styling. You can assign a certain style on an element, like, okay, this element will be green on CSS styling. On default, that element will be green. But you can use a JavaScript that if a certain criteria is being met, let that green change to red. If a certain criteria is being met, let that red change to pink. So you can use JavaScript to manipulate your CSS styling. So because these are the foundational language for web development. These are the foundational language for web development. You can practice your coding. You can use online platforms like Codecademy, Free Code Camp, or W3 School to practice your coding skill. We are still working on our own online platform, Panda Academy. We hope by next few months time or close to next year, beginning of next year, will be done. Then our third point will be building of projects. Once you are getting hold of the basis, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and before you dive into React, start building your projects. You don't need to be a full stack developer before you start building websites. Start building your project. Build your first project. To-do lists. Anything, personal website. Even though it doesn't have any server, or just build it. Post it. There are plenty of free server out there. Firebase have a free server. They have Vercel. Even GitHub assign free server. So build the project. You can just build a simple project, to-do list, a blog, even though the blog site doesn't allow you to upload to it. Just create a front end version of a blog and just type in some blog posts, adding some pictures, styling the picture to make it look like, yes, this is a real blog post. But the upload function might not work because you have not yet connected it to a server. But when you are done with the back end, always remember to revert back to those projects and update them, so that and then you push it out as, yes, this is one of my completed projects. So anywhere you are, make you just learn a little about, don't just sit down learning, build project immediately. Make you are learning, build project to test your skills. Anywhere you see problem, you revert back to your learning platform to get grasp of what you just learned. Like, okay, in the platform they put it this way, why is my own having this issue? Then you can go to the community, or you check the documentation if there's any documented anomaly or about that issue. So there boils down to the fourth point: join a community. There are a lot of community out there for web developers. You can go into YouTube, there's even a social media platform called Daily Dev, yes, Daily Dev. Download the app, register. Anything about programming, their apps have it for you. There's Twitter. You can go for hashtag web dev, hashtag web development, hashtag JavaScript, hashtag HTML, hashtag CSS, hashtag React. You meet your fellow developers on Twitter. On Facebook, same thing. Or you can go on Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is a community built for people to troubleshoot problems for each other. Like, you can have some problem with how your code run, and your code there, you need something, but your code is showing you another thing. You can just copy the result, your output, or your log your console, and display it on the Stack Overflow. You will be lucky to see someone who have same problem with you, or if you don't, someone will be there to respond for you, to tell you where to push it through. So the last point that I always tell people: stay curious. Stay curious. Nobody is perfect. You can't learn everything in JavaScript. So always put yourself in a best mind of staying curious. Always put yourself in a learning steady place, because web development is constantly evolving. Keep learning, experimenting with the new tools and technology. Don't say, I've learned HTML, I've learned CSS, I've learned JavaScript, now we'll just face React. Don't. By the time you'll be done with JavaScript, maybe on more JavaScript frameworks would have been added to it, and more CSS tricks will be added, and more HTML tricks and tags will be added to it. So what I would really say, visit, even though you are done with HTML, from time to time, go back to their documentation, try to learn the new things that have been added to the CSS, try to learn the new things that have been added to this JavaScript. Then you start experimenting with them till you are perfect in it. Then that's it. Then we'll go for the next thing, which is this is almost the close of it. So we come to a conclusion. Web development is a fascinating field that combines creativity with technical skills. Whether you are looking to build your own website, start a career, or just explore a new hobby, there's always something new to learn and create. Thanks for joining us on Partner Academy on Web Dev Journey, and stay tuned for more tips, tutorial, insight into the world of web development. Thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more web development tutorials, and follow us on all our social media links are placed on the description below for the latest updates. Happy coding. Thank you.